Our next speaker will be Captain Rich Delgado. He is a retired United States Navy and has actually done quite a few things within your career, but now is the coordinator of
Unmanned Maritime Systems.
That's it, for the University of Southern Mississippi. So go ahead, Captain Rich.
All right, thanks, Aaron. And I've been really looking forward to this opportunity. What a great group. And I'm following some great scientists, and I've been impressed. I learn something every time I go to work, and this instance is no different. So greetings, everyone. I am calling you from Slidell, Louisiana, and what I want to talk about is very briefly what I do first, and then I'll say how I got here. So let's first talk about what UMS, Unmanned Maritime Systems. That's a mouthful, and what that basically means when you see in the movies or on the news, you hear about aerial drones, right? You hear about aerial robots. Well, Unmanned Maritime Systems is a broad term to refer to underwater and ocean surface vehicles and systems. So everything from an underwater robot that that is maneuvering and by a pre-programmed computer program, or what Dr. Hamden talked about with a tethered, remotely operated vehicle. Those are unmanned maritime systems. And one of the things that I do is, as a coordinator, I'm essentially a project manager. And what I do is I connect our researchers with different sponsors that want to advance, innovate things with respect to unmanned maritime system. So for instance, we are doing a grant right now with a system, unmanned underwater vehicle, a UUV, that can go into very shallow water, open up a payload bay, and drop something inside the surf zone, and then that vehicle depart and leave that sensor in the beach zone. We're doing that on behalf of the United States Marine Corps, who go from the sea to the shore, and they might want to be able to measure how the surf is, how big the surf is, or what the currents are in the surf zone, or they might want to put a microphone or some type of camera, something underneath the water. So that's an example where I'm working with the researchers as well as working with the sponsors, the folks that provide the money for our grants to do this research and development to really innovate for the future. It's all about science and engineering, and in what we do. When you talk about a underwater, a surface, or even an aerial drone, you have to understand the science, whether it be oceanography, meteorology, of how this system is operating, how it's affected by the environment, how it can sense the environment. So that's the science side of it. The engineering side of it is, how does the system talk to itself? How does it? How do you program it? How do you build it so that it doesn't sink, or the internal components don't get wet? All those aspects of engineering go into efficiently operating unmanned systems. And I like to tell people when they come through our building down at Gulfport, unmanned systems underwater, it's going to be analogous to your cell phone. It is, you're already seeing that on the aviation side, right? Where you're seeing aerial drones starting to deliver mail and deliver packages and taking pictures. It's commonplace. That is going to only increase. Unmanned cars, unmanned vehicles that are on the ground. It is the innovation of the future. It's exciting, but it also comes with risk to a lot of expensive equipment, risks to everything from effects on the environment to things about privacy. So that's essentially what I do, and I've been doing it now since fall of 2018, and it's been great to be back with the University of Southern Mississippi. So who am I and how did I get here? Well, it's been a great ride. I was in the Navy for almost 29 years, and it was certainly when I graduated from high school, I did not realize and appreciate how fast time goes and how many opportunities I would have to serve our country first and foremost, but really the doors that opened for me to apply what I love to do about the science. So I grew up in the Midwest, and in the Midwest you have thunderstorms, and I would see these massive thunderstorms, saw a couple of tornadoes growing up, and I said, hey, I want to be the meteorologist. And long story short is, to be able to go to college, I decided, hey, I need to work on getting some scholarships, and there was a great opportunity with the Navy to get a scholarship and go into eventually become a Navy oceanographer. You might ask, what is a Navy oceanographer? Navy oceanography simply is about 2,500 people in the Navy, that military and civilian, that really study and predict what the effect of the environment is on naval operations. That could be for safety, for ships, safety for aviation, for aircraft, but also to be most effective. A lot of people don't realize that the sound in the ocean depends largely on the temperature and salinity profile of the ocean, of the water column. And being able to predict that better than somebody else, you can exploit that knowledge and be in a better position to to hide your submarine or find somebody else's submarine. So that's one example. So that's what I've been doing. I'm also a trained hydrographer, and I received my master's degree from the University of Southern Miss back in 2002. To really, if you ever been on a ship and you see the chart table, where that nautical chart, where they're navigating the ship, all that information, where the depths of the water, the map itself, and the aids and hazards and navigation, all come from nautical charting, hydrography, the science of hydrography and mapping things. And I've received that diploma and was able to do that for about 10 years. And one of the great experiences we did a survey after the Haiti earthquake, and there was a shift in the seafloor, and we had to make sure that the water depths and the aids to navigation had not moved. So that was one of the most rewarding things that I did in my my Navy career. So with that, I will open it up for questions.
Thanks, Captain Rich. We'll go ahead. We got Chad Atkins, who has her hand raised. You want to go ahead and unmute and ask a question?
My question is, what's the most technical project that you've worked on in your career?
Most technical project. So back in 2010, there is a Navy port in Saipan, which is a territory of the United States, and that port has a lot of coral that was very prominent and was going to be a problem for ships to navigate in and out of the port. But it's also very important environmentally. Coral is a very precious living organism, really. So it was very complex to survey that area and provide advice to the harbor master on how to make sure that ships navigate effectively without damaging that coral. So that was complex, but very rewarding, because eventually ships were able to use the port based on our survey data. Good question. Thank you.
All right, one more question. Anybody? Not. We'll go ahead and our next speaker. Thank you so much, Captain Rich.
Yep. Thanks. Thanks, Aaron.